What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Strokes Gained PGA show. I'm your host, Travis Mangone, back with the usual Tuesday crew, ready to rock. Got to find some opportunities to put Big T in his place, too, as well. We got Hoop. We got AP here. Let's kick it off with you first, Hoop. How's it going over there? How was your week, and how are you feeling about this week?
Yeah, it's going well. I mean, the Run Pure team continues to absolutely dominate the leaderboards in the PGA DFS contest all across the industry, multiple sites. We had some more six-figure wins. We had our guy, the producer here, Captain, take down the FanDuel Big GPP. We're just all across the board. It was another phenomenal week, and we're just getting started and really, really like this week's slate as well. So excited to dive in regards to like Big T. I mean, first off, like this Wednesday show, Tuesday show, we've been nice, polite, we give everyone a nice round of applause. We talk highly about our coworkers. This Wednesday show, I mean, they just come at us. And we've given winners every week and they're just coming at us for no reason. So it's not nice, disrespectful. And I hope, things turn around and we can, be a nice cohesive unit in our PGA content and PGA shows.
No, listen, it's Big T's been going at everyone. I even tried to give him free money last week with Scotty Scheffler, and he still like beats me up for it, like every single week. Like, man, like Tony, like if there's one golfer that starts doing really bad, like it's going to be every week, man. I'm just going to keep firing at him unless we make some agreement. We'll have to see how it goes. But AP, how's it going over there? How was your week, and are you fired up for this one?
Yeah, man, it's going good. And Hoop, said it best. We had a big week last week, and I did well myself. And it was another week for me to where I only had like 4 or 6 and 5 or 6 through, but I still did well. Still more than doubled my money. But we had our guy Pinsack in chat. He took down 100K. He won the $200 single entry. That was awesome to see. This guy, like, what I love about this guy is he switches his logo, mid-sweat, right when we're going into it. I mean, JT, my guy JT, I thought he had a handle on the tournament. I thought he was going to win. I thought he was a lock. And what happens is this Pinsack, he changes his logo. JT feels it. Morikawa, gets there, gets the win, gets it done, and now that guy has 100K. So you love to see it. And I'm even more pumped for this week. I think we have a lot of good stuff that we're dialing in on, and I think this run's going to continue.
Another cool story from last week that we just kind of caught wind of, I think yesterday. Well, Jeremy Kahn is a member of ours, and he runs a radio show in Baltimore, and RPS member. Speaks very highly of the product. He was the one that finished in second for 100,000 when I won the 200 a couple weeks ago. I went on a show. We were talking about an AP who'd gone on this show the day before. Well, one of his listeners never heard of Run Pure Sports, signs up for our site, builds his team off of our content, and ships 50,000, I think it was, right? 40 or 50, finished second in one of the big GPPs for 40 or 50.
I think that was the 40,000 one. The best part about that, Hoop, I was going to bring it up. The best part was, like, we didn't find out about that till like Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. Like, it just kind of like trickled in out of nowhere after all the tons of screenshots we had. I mean, so many people crushed.
Yeah, it was awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely awesome. Super excited and love seeing everyone do well. It was a solid week for me, right? But man, all the members, they were spot on. And we got tons of other great stuff coming, guys. I love this week. I think we're pretty dialed in. Let me kick it over to AP first. AP, why don't you give a course breakdown? If you want to, we were talking before the show a little bit. Maybe go through some of the stats too we talk about. That might help the people like around the green, some like the abbreviations for the people, just to help some of the newer guys out when they're reading the content.
Yeah, so if you didn't play last week, we're playing Muirfield Village back-to-back. This event is hosted here at the Memorial every single year. We had a special event last week. I keep wanting to call it the Workbench Charity Open, but the Workday Charity Open. And so with Muirfield Village, it's a ball strikers course. It's a par 72. We got 4 par fives that are all attackable. A lot of these guys are going to be able to get there in 2. We saw that last week. And, you know, one thing that they said is they're going to try to make the course play a little bit differently this week. I kind of struggle to see how they're going to do too much to it. I think what they can do is make the greens faster, and they probably let the rough grow out a little bit. But honestly, last week the rough looked kind of brutal. You could just see some of these guys made big scores, and so we just got to keep putting a priority on ball strikers. And so just getting into the stats a little bit, you know, when I'm saying ball strikers, I'm looking for a guy who is elite, you know, combination of being elite off the tee and on his approach. You know, I'm really looking at iron players. You know, Victor Hovland, for example, is one of the best ball strikers on tour right now. Same with Colin Morikawa, who won last week. So when we talk about ball striking, that's pretty much what we're talking about. We're talking about iron play. We're talking about a combination of that and strokes gained off the tee. One thing that we can do on the site, too, is we'll come up with kind of a glossary that goes over all of our stats. We'll get that at the bottom of the playbook or at the model, and we'll make sure that that's up within a week or so. But yeah, I think that's the breakdown.
Yeah, I just want to mention a couple things too. With our PGA product, you're wondering, hey, if let's say you're not a member right now and you're watching this video, like, what are you getting with it? You know, you're getting our playbook, you're getting our showdown playbook too, which is going to be every single day, right? So you're not just getting content for one tournament. You know, you're getting it throughout the whole thing: round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. You're getting our core play, so you get to find out some cash builds, single entry builds. Hoop does the cash builds. I do the single entry ones, Big T's main build, APs, and then we kind of give a breakdown of our construction. Coop's also in there giving his core. So is JSU. They're giving their FanDuel core. So tons of awesome stuff. We got our tiers. That's awesome too. Our model breakdown, and we got like articles with just like the course write-up, so you can read what Coop's thinking about the course and kind of the whole breakdown. So there's so much content going on over here at Run Pure Sports. So guys,
and I will say, not to cut you off, but I mean, there's been no doubt, like, this has been the best PGA product in the industry. And it's not even particularly close. Like, our content has been far and above everyone else's. And yes, it's a biased opinion, but the results back it up. I mean, we've had people in contention, if not winning, every single week. And the content has been spot on. And you know what? It's going to be this week too. I'm feeling good, boys.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm feeling good too. And if I have to be honest, there was like one week where we weren't the best, but all the others, I mean, were absolute smashes. So it's been good over here, and the members are absolutely loving it. Hopefully we can get you guys on with us. If you're not on board with us, if you could too, please hit that like, hit the subscribe on the channel. We'd appreciate it. One last thing I want to mention before we dive in: we have a PGA pod that you guys might not know about, right? It's on our iTunes channel, so you can get it on Spotify as well. Just type in Run Pure Sports. Subscribe over there. Give us the review too. The 5 stars are appreciated, guys. We'd love that. We have a Monday pod that goes on there, and we'll have tons of other content that's going to be out over there. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be absolutely awesome. But yeah, let's dive in. Let's really talk about this field because, there's some awesome golfers going to be here. It's going to be better than last week. I'm super excited. Let's talk about the guy at the top. And let's go to you first, AP. Kick it off for us. We got Bryson at the top, your boy JT. Let's talk about the 10K and above range. So from Bryson to Morikawa, who are some of your favorite guys in this range?
Yeah, I mean, I'll first start off by saying the 9K and up range is absolutely stacked. And I believe this is the best field we have seen in a non-major event. I mean, this field is absolutely stacked. And so we all got to be really excited. And one thing that's going to happen when you have a field like this, that there's just so many big names in the field, it's going to dilute the ownership. So all you have to do to, in tournaments is pick and choose who you want to play, get overweight on that guy. And it's not going to be hard to get overweight on that player. And so starting right there with Bryson, like, I haven't listened to a bunch of other podcasts or anything, but what I've seen from the few I've listened to is people are trying to talk themselves out of playing this guy. And this guy is the best golfer in the world right now. He may not have that number one spot right now, but he is trending that way. And he, even with how stacked this field is, the guy is in a class, by himself right now. And I'm going to stick to it. And I can't remember who was telling me that, like, the course doesn't fit him. I mean, this guy won just a few years ago. He won at Jack's place at Muirfield, so you can't say that the course fit isn't good for him. If he won, 2 years ago, and if you look at his game right now, he's way better than what he was 2 years ago. So yeah, he can win. He can win this week, and it's not going to surprise me if he wins back to back. So yeah, I'll sum it up by saying Bryson is an awesome play and definitely should be a top play in this category or in this range. And then, for me, it's, second in this range is Justin Thomas for sure. He almost got it done for us last week. He did get it done for me last week. I mean, he didn't win, but, from a DFS standpoint, getting that solo second is really all we needed. And, his irons look phenomenal. You could try to talk yourself out of a play, out of playing him by saying, is that going to be mentally taxing or whatever, just by losing in that epic playoff battle against Morikawa. And, I don't know. I'm not totally buying it. I will have some exposure to him, but I do like Bryson more than my guy, Justin Thomas, this week. For me, I'll probably fade Rory. I could see him. Rory's usually always the guy that's that's priced the highest in this field. And so I could see him maybe getting a little bit more ownership. But for me in this range, he's probably going to be my fade. And it has nothing to do with like how talented he is. I mean, obviously he's world number one right now. But I just think that, he's not scoring like we want him to do. And I want the guy, I want Big Daddy Bryson. He's just been getting it done.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I'm definitely fading a lot of these guys at the top. I think I'm fading JT, Rory, and Dustin. I will say, I'll tell you my builds. I'll play Bryson for sure. And I'm going to play maybe one more 10K guy, maybe. And it might be Morikawa. I might go back to the well, but I'm not for certain. How about you, Hoop? How are you approaching this top end range?
Yeah, it's an interesting range. And honestly, I'm not expecting a ton of ownership for anyone. I thought Bryson would be popular this week because of how well he's played and, his new sort of game. And, everyone kind of saw it a couple weeks ago in Detroit. He just dominated. But it's looking like people, like AP said, people are talking themselves out of playing Bryson. And he's been the best golfer. And, honestly, it hasn't even been that close. Like, he's been the best golfer by far since the return. And honestly, got to give Mangone credit. Like, you were on it ahead of anyone here at RPS. I mean, you were talking about it out of the break. And, you were spot on. So definitely got to give you some credit. You were leading the Bryson charge since day one. And it's honestly, it's been impressive how well he's played. Definitely be back on him. I'm hoping, I just hope that ownership holds. Like if, a lot of places saying like 15, 16%, maybe even in the lower teens, like if that's the case, could be another big week for the RPS crew because we'll be overweight. And, outside of him, I don't know, like I'm tempted to play Rory. I mean, the good thing about any of these guys, if you do want to play them, like we always say, it's important to get overweight on basically everyone you're playing. At least that's my goal. Like if I'm building tournament teams, if I'm not going to be overweight on somebody, like I'm most likely going to fade. I know a lot of people are fine going even with the field. Not me. Like I want to be overweight on every guy in my lineup. So it's easy in this top range. Like no one's going to be owned. So if you want to play Rory, if you want to play Dustin, even Morikawa coming off a win should be lower owned. JT's going to be lower owned. It's not going to take much to get overweight. Bryson is my favorite. Like I said, I'll probably maybe play one more, and it would either be Rory or DJ. I haven't made up my decision on that yet, but definitely Bryson, maybe Rory or DJ. It would just be one of those two, not both.
Yep, I'm with you on that. Like I said, I think I'm Hoop. You kind of just gave your rankings. I'll go Bryson 1, Morikawa 2, and then if I picked a third, I think it'd be Rory.
And take your victory lap on Bryson, man.
Oh,
take your victory lap. Come on, you were on it. Like I said, you were there.
I will say, just to paint the picture for you. So I sat in the chat and I said, if there's a guy that's going to be Bryson, like I was like, or if there was a guy that was going to be Tiger Woods, like, yeah, it's going to be Bryson. And everyone laughed at me. And I was like, the one thing I'll say, and I just think it shows, it's like with these guys like Michael Jordan and like Kobe, like he loves the freaking game, man. Like, and he's putting every ounce into it. And those are guys I want, right? I love a good grinder, right? I like the grind DFS. I like a dude that's going to be in there, just muddying it up, just doing everything he can to win. And that's the thing I love about Bryson. So Yeah, super excited to be rostering him. My personal opinion, again, like looking at that range, like I'd rather fade, and no offense to JT, he's great AP, and I don't mind playing him. He's good, but I'd just rather have more Bryson. That's just my personal opinion on it. AP, how would you rank these guys in the top range? Give me your top three.
Yeah, I would say Bryson 1, JT 2, and Rory 3. And I don't know, I probably won't play Rory too. So you know, just to be extremely transparent, it's Bryson and JT for me in that range.
No, agree with you on that. Let's head over to the next range. And again, like this is a range, man, loaded. Like you can argue it's more loaded than the top end. There's tons of guys here, but I think there's some good fades too in this range. Hoop, kick it off for us here. I mean, who are some of the guys you're playing, and who are some of the guys you're fading?
Loaded range, and that's kind of why I'm not going to take a stand on anyone besides Bryson, I think, in the top tier, because I want to be in this range a lot. And the prices are fair on these guys, and there's a lot of elite plays. You know, you start with Cantlay, who was the most popular play on the slate last week. Looked like he was going to bust, and then just boom, Sunday just goes bonkers. And what did he shoot? 8 under, right? Was it 8 under?
Yeah, he shot. It was. I think he may have 7 under on the last hole because I think he bogeyed the last hole, but it was either 7 or 8 under.
Yeah, he was 7 under, and man, like under, you know, the prices come down 9.8K. Easy to play him, easy to start lineups with him, and have just a very elite build. So he's going to be a guy I'm going to play. Victor Hovland, like we've been riding him at Run Pier for weeks now, and he is not disappointed. I mean, he hasn't finished worse than T23, I think, since the return to golf, and you know, T11, T12, T3 in his last 3 events. His tee to green game is absolutely phenomenal. Just comes down to making some putts, and you know, if you make some of these putts, like he's going to be in contention, which we saw last week. I'm going to be back on Matsuyama at 9.4K. I mean, just looks so good through 2 rounds, and then round 3 and 4, not very good. So there is some concern because of how bad he looked on the weekend, but he looks solid in rounds 1 and 2. So I'm gonna play him. Might be one of my lower owned guys in this range, but I'm gonna be on him. I mean, his approach game is phenomenal. John Rahm is a hot topic this week. I mean, he's been so disappointing since the PGA's returned. Hasn't finished better than 27th, and that was last week. Was looking like he was going to be, you know, big disappointment last week, then fires at 8 under round 4. And I'm going to be on him. I mean, the price is down. I don't think the ownership is going to be high. Like I said, I expect ownership to be pretty spread out this week, so I'm not worried about ownership. And I mean, I'm typically not a person to worry about ownership. I just play my guys. Ownership in golf always seems to come in lower than people anticipate. So I just feel comfortable playing the guys that I think are best. When John Rahm's on his game, like he's clearly one of the best golfers. I think he gets it going this week, so I like him. Not usually a Schauffele guy, but I'll be on him this week at 9-2. I'm just trying to hammer this range, like I said, as much as possible. All these guys have winning upside, like they can win golf events, and you know, if you're building teams, you want as many guys as possible in there that can win PGA events. And to me, Schauffele's a guy that can win. So I like him. I'll be on Brooks this week at 9-1. Didn't work out last week, but I mean, he made an impressive charge after disappointing 74 in round 1, came back with a 69 and almost made the cut. So I'm going to go back to him at 9.1K. Like, I know he's a narrative-based guy. He let us down last week. This field's strong. He's been talking. He wants some attention on him. I'll play him at 9.1K. Then Tiger's the other interesting one. You know, he's appearing to be one of the more popular guys this week. And I'm kind of surprised by that. I mean, he hasn't played in 5 months, competitive round of golf. You know, he does have a nice price tag here, but I'm going to be fading Tiger. Like I'll if he burns me, he burns me. I'm not playing him though. I mean, he hasn't played in 5 months. Always has some concerns with the return and, you know, what condition his body is truly in. And I'm gonna be off him this week. And some places have him at 20% owned. And you know, if that's the case, I feel good with my stand. So I'll be fading Tiger this week.
Yeah, 2 guys that popped out to me, and just a couple stats I'll say is Cantlay. Like I love that he gained strokes so far in every single event that he's played. He's gained strokes. He's looked amazing, and this tournament just lines up so well for him. So I love Cantlay and Hovland too. I mean, the strokes gained tee to green on him is incredible. The way he's played, he hasn't shot over par in any round since the break. So love what Hovland's been doing and love what he did to his game post quarantine. He's definitely put some work in time. So those are two guys I'm definitely on. I'll go to you, AP. I know that you're the guy that kind of handles the PGA golf model over here at Run Pure Sports a little bit. You kind of make the tweaks to it after it's adjusted and stats are thrown in by the captain. I saw two guys that were up there, Hideki and Cantlay. Or sorry, it was Hideki and Hovland. So those were two guys that were popping in that 9K range. I'm assuming you got some interest in them. And who are some of the other guys you like?
Yeah, we tune the model every week, and we tune it based off of a few different factors. One, we want to dial it in relative to the course that these golfers are playing. And what I wanted to do was overemphasize ball strikers to make sure that they were popping in our model, which is why Hideki is going to, be one of the highest graded out in the model. Now, what you got to do is you can't just go all in on that guy just because the model is picking him. Weigh it against how he's graded. For example, Hideki, we have him graded as a GPP play, but he has a very high grade in the model. So I would look at that as, hey, he's a great GPP play, and then read the notes on him, and you'll see why. His putter absolutely sucks right now, but he keeps firing at pins, and he keeps having these looks for 6, 7, 8 feet. We just need to see him go in the hole, and he'll be right there if he can do that. But in this range, here's what I'm doing. I'm starting. I want to get overweight Patrick Cantlay. I know both of you guys are on him, and you mentioned him. And one thing that I love is something that you just mentioned, Mangone, is he has not lost strokes in any category, any of the main categories since returning to golf. Now, if you ask me that, do you think that's true that he hasn't lost strokes in any of these categories? And just looking at him, he hasn't done anything flashy. He has an 11th place finish and a 7th place finish last week. I would say, yeah, there's probably something maybe a little bit off in his game, but he's just been extremely steady. And I think he'll just improve on that. I think basically, having last week and that experience going into this and taking that momentum from Sunday, I think that's going to be a huge advantage for Cantlay. So I want to get overweight on him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start my builds with Bryson. I'm going to have a bunch of Bryson builds, and then I'm going to have a bunch of Cantlay builds. So if I'm not starting with Bryson, I'm starting with Cantlay, and then I'll have them both in a build or two as well. So he's the guy I definitely have starred. Victor Hovland, as you guys mentioned, he has played in every single event since golf has returned, and that doesn't concern me one bit. He's just an elite ball striker, and the only area of his game that has been somewhat shaky is his short game. And so I definitely like Hovland. Hideki, I haven't been playing Matsuyama, but the one thing I do like about him is the opportunities that he had last week. So I do have some interest in Hideki, and I think Hoop said it best. I want a lot of exposure to this range. And so what I'm going to do is just get overweight those two guys I'm most confident in, which is Bryson and Cantlay. And then I'm going to mix and match a bunch of guys like Hovland, Matsuyama, maybe a tiny bit of Rahm. And I like Xander a lot this week as well. I got a bet against Tony, straight up Brooks against Xander. Tony he's 0-4 against me in these bets, and he keeps talking smack, and so I got to put him in his place.
Oh, it's great that the Wednesday show they talk so much shit, but they don't have the results to back it up. Their results are just, it's sad. In these, they call us out, they lose the bets, and then they still talk shit. Come on.
Oh man, the Big T giblets are just, man, they're tasty. So. So I'm definitely going to go overweight Xander since I got that bet. And with Tiger Woods, a Hoop makes such a good point. There's just so many other guys in this range that I want to click before him. Since I'm kind of a Tiger homer and a sucker, as we all are, I'll probably have one build just so I can root him on and one. But honestly, I think what you do with Tiger is you look at ownership trends. And if he starts trending upwards like he is right now, you fade him in tournaments, and you're going to have a massive amount of leverage by doing so.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Tiger. I feel like he might get that Jordan Spieth love that 1 week where his ownership was just really high. So I'm off of Tiger. If I'm gonna rank him again, like I love this range. You guys mentioned guys like Xander, who I like a ton. I like maybe going back to Brooks if he's going to be low owned, and Hideki's so interesting. There's a lot of guys. It's hard to narrow it down. Even Rahm's price is intriguing, but let's pick our top 3 guys in this range. Who are the 3 guys that we like the most? I would say for me, it's going to be Cantlay, it's going to be Hovland. And then, man, the last one is tough. I'm going to pick between Hideki, Rahm, and Schauffele. And personally, I think I'm going to say it's Hideki. How about you, Hoop? Give us your top 3.
Gosh, I hate copping out, but like I'm playing like all these guys that we talked about, and I'm gonna get decent exposure to all of them. I kind of like them all equally, but I will go ahead and rank them. I'm gonna go Rahm, Cantlay, and then Rahm, Cantlay, and Xander. But I really like Hovland too, and I like Brooks, and it's tough for me. I like Matsuyama. I like them all.
It is, but it's worth noting, like, we definitely talked about, like, fading some of these higher 10K guys, and then we're going to fade some of these higher 8K guys, too. So it's obviously worth noting. It seems like this is the range we like the most. AP, give me your top 3 here.
Yeah, I think Cantlay is clearly the best play in this range. I got him number 1. I got Xander number 2. The other thing about Xander is he's a big game hunter, and we got a big game field. And so I just think that maybe he goes a little overshadowed. I don't know. It's just there's so many other names in this range. So I got him number 2, and I got Hovland number 3.
Yeah, the one thing about Xander that isn't mentioned either, he doesn't really go like pop at the majors as much. He pops in the big fields that aren't majors. I don't know if there's anything to that. It could just be noise, but it is true. Like that, he is like everyone says Brooks is the guy who wins majors. Well, Xander's the guy who shows up at the like non-major loaded fields. It could be noise, but figured I'd mention that one. Let's talk about this 8K range. And I think from conversations we've had and looking over the playbook and the content and the conversations we've had, Answer's our favorite guy, I'd say, in this range might be. So from 8-9 to 8K, Hoop, kick it off for us. Who's your favorite, and who are some of the guys you're going to be overweight and underweight on?
Yeah, I mean, if you follow me for PGA DFS, I think it's probably pretty clear the guys in this range I'm playing and the guys in this range that I'm not playing. Some of my least favorite guys are here and some of my favorite guys. So I'll go with the ones I'm not playing. Like Justin Rose, like that was a disaster. His game's all over the place right now. I mean, it was a pathetic performance back to back too. Like, I mean, the tournament before that, 3 under, looking to cruise into the weekend, and just fires a 73. Not interested in the round. I'll be off Rose. Like I thought based on his odds that his price would be in the lower 8 range. It's in the upper 8 range, so no thanks on Rose. I'm just going to keep fading Ricky Fowler. Like I've been fading Ricky Fowler for years, and I can count on one hand how many times it's burned me. So I'm going to continue to do it. Like he just doesn't win golf tournaments, and his good rounds are when he's out of contention. So I'll be fading him. Definitely continue to fade Patrick Reed. I will fade Sungjae Im. His game is just, it's been bad. And as a guy I was on early on in the season, I mean, but that break clearly hurt his game. He's in shambles, not playing him. Jason Day, not playing at 8K. And Matt Kuchar, Big T and I were talking, like, Matt Kuchar is not right. His game is not in good shape right now. I just can't see him contending like at this course. I'm just so I'll be off him. Now the guys that I have interest in, Daniel Berger. I mean, I don't anticipate high ownership on him, and you just look at his recent finishes. Not T9, T5, T4 first, and T third. I'm gonna keep playing Berger. He's playing some phenomenal golf, and those were some solid field events. It wasn't just him beating up on scrubs. Like he was winning and competing against the best. So I'll be back on him. Gary Woodland's the one I'm undecided on. I am a Gary Woodland guy, but it's been a tough stretch here. He did obviously perform well last week, but he made some long putts. He had at least one chip in. I'm a little bit hesitant on Woodland. The price came up, so I'm not 100% if I'm going to play him yet. I'm leaning towards no. but maybe you guys can talk me in or out of him a little bit more. Answer, like you said, another guy like Berger playing phenomenal golf, 14th, second, T11 last time out. Just playing very, very solid in all facets. So I'll be on Answer. I'm on Finau every week. I don't care. I'm going to keep playing Tony Finau. I just can't avoid it.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm a Finau guy, and it really just doesn't matter. I'm playing him every week, so what I say really doesn't matter. But just know I'm on Finau. And then I've been playing a lot of Fitzpatrick. I'll give him a look at 8.1K as well.
Yeah, Finau's had really good numbers post-quarantine, at least like from like the ball striking perspective and stuff. And that's the stuff you need here. So I'm in on Finau. Maybe it's the bias, but like him, maybe you have word on an AP. I heard on one podcast this week, like someone said that like Woodland changed his clubs on Saturday. Maybe that's something you caught wind of. I know you listen to a lot of the PGA radio stuff. He like switched out one club and that helped him play a little bit better on Saturday. I am a little concerned about Woodland, but I love this 8K range. So many good guys to play. Who are you on here, AP?
Yeah, actually, I was saying I think there's a lot of landmines in this range, and as much as I like the 9K range, I think we got to pick and choose our spots in the 8K range. And so with Woodland, I wonder if he did change his clubs, because he went like 73 and then he fired 3 straight rounds in the 60s. So I thought that was a really positive sign to, shoot a 68, 66, 69 and to post a solid finish. And so I'm kind of with you guys. I'm kind of torn, because the route that I'm choosing to go this week is really dictating this range for me. And I'm kind of fine with that after I've looked at it. So the guys I really like in this range, I feel kind of like, I'm on a cash game, stream with you guys, and that, Tony Finau, typically not a tournament, heavy tournament target guy that I play, but I like him this week, man. I think he's a really good play. 8,300 is just too cheap for a guy that's dominated this course. He has excellent course history, and we're gonna see him turn it on, and we're gonna see these top fives out of him. He does it all the time, and I think didn't he post like a 59 or something last week?
Yeah, he did. He posted a 59 in Utah. It's some random course, right? But that's still pretty impressive, man. Like, yeah, 59 is no joke. So game's sure is perfectly fine.
And the other thing that I like about it, usually he's massive chalk. Okay, he's projected to be around 10%. Now I don't know, maybe that changes. I haven't listened to anything, but if he is going to be around 10%, I have a lot of interest in him, and I want to get overweight. My favorite play in this range, though, is Abe Answer, just above him, 8,500. We've seen all types of guys win at this course. You don't have to be a bomber to win here. I mean, we saw Dirt McGirt win, what was that, 4 years ago or something like that. Different field, obviously a different field and a different era of golf. But Abe Answer is just absolutely dominating on approach. I will say, with Abe, like, he does struggle around the greens, but his approach game has been so good that it hasn't been an issue. So if his irons happen to be off this week, that is the one risk that he does carry. But I just think he's been hitting the ball too well. So he's a guy I'm overweight on. I like Gary Woodland. And then, yeah, Daniel Berger. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of repeating a lot of Hoops plays, but, we happen to be on a lot of the same guys this week, and I'm fine with that. So for me, I'll go ahead and rank this range for myself. I'm going to put Abe Answer number 1. I think he's sneaky, and I think we find him in contention this week. And I know, Mangone, I know you have an outright bet on him, and I think that's did you get like 50 to 1?
Yeah, I got 50 to 1 on him. I know it's moved to 45 to 1 in spots, but 50 to 1 I got at Bet365.
Man, he's been so close. And you got to just figure that this course sets up so well for him. He's been very steady. I got Tony Finau number 2, and I got Daniel Berger number 3.
Yeah, so here's a couple of things I'll add. Snyder said in the chat, Woodland switched over to the ping driver hoop. So that was the switch he made on Saturday, I think it was. You can ask Snyder more about it, I'm sure, if you want to get the full details. But it definitely was a difference. It helped him a ton. One last thing I want to mention on Answer. So I was talking with Coop. We were going back and forth, and he said, I'm worried Answer is not as strong off the tee for this. And I said, I don't think the driving distance is going to matter enough. And I went through and looked. Answer's ranked 80th in driving distance. And who was next to him on the season? It was Billy Horschel, who played great last week, and Joaquin Niemann, who was perfectly fine. And then I looked even down the line. I said, where was Colin Morikawa? Where is he in driving distance on the season? And he's tied for 108th. Next to Kevin Streelman and Charlie Hoffman, who had great weeks last week. So I'm not concerned about his length off the tee or anything. I just know he's got some of the hottest irons going into this right now. I want to be all over that. And one thing that might give you some, safety here with the around the green game, AP, is I looked up the last 2 years. Answer was, I think his around the green game was 100th ranked, but now he's 62nd post quarantine. Again, it's still a small sample, but maybe he made some improvements. That I don't think he's the same player. I think he definitely improved his game a ton. So yeah, love Abe Answer. He's my number one guy. My number two guy in the 8K range, I guess I'd go with. And it's similar to you, AP. I'd probably go Berger too. He's been growing on me as the week has gone on. And I'd probably say Finau at 3. Love him in this situation. We didn't talk about Fitzpatrick that much, but I'm sure I'll be overweight on him again as well. Hoop, how are you rating this range?
It's probably biased, but Finau, 1, Berger, Answer.
All righty. If you guys could.
Hey, let me add one thing. I think I'm actually going to be fading Fitzpatrick this week at 8,100. I got it. I didn't listen to any of my fades, and there's a lot of guys I'm fading. Let me explain why real quick. Over his last 4 events, he's gained almost all of his strokes putting, and putting can just be such a volatile stat. They're going to have these greens running a lot faster this week. And, he's been off and on with his ball striking. So I just think if he's shaky at all off the tee and on approach, and if he's relying on his putter, I just think it's going to be tough to post what we need him to post. So.
All right, good to hear. Maybe that'll take me off him, but I don't know. It was like a default thing, right? Like I've been playing him and I want to keep going back to the well, but I'll have to dive deeper into him. Let's talk about this high 7K range. We'll go 7.9 to 7.6 because it's a pretty good range here. Hoop, kick it off for us. Who do you like in this range? And mention the weather too. I see Snyder mentioned in the chat. Are there any concerns for you with the weather this week?
Yeah, I think there could end up being a pretty decent advantage here, but we got to wait. We got to get closer and see. Like last week, we thought there could be an advantage, but my concern was with the strong storm was that the storm hits, causes a delay, and then there's no wind, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Like I'm a guy that's always looking for the weather edge, but you have to be cautious with it. And last week is a prime example. We had high winds looking like they're locked to hit Friday afternoon, and the thunderstorm. Well, the thunderstorm hit, caused a delay, and then it was calm as can be, and they get the wet conditions, the soft course as well. So it ended up being an advantage for the people in the afternoon. We thought it was going to be a disadvantage. So you have to be careful. This week looks like could be the same. So they're saying thunderstorms Thursday afternoon with high winds. Obviously not a meteorologist. There's other people in the industry that are much better at predicting this stuff, but could be another situation. So you got to be careful. If it's looking like a delay is likely, it might erase that advantage. So, it's a situation we'll be monitoring, and I know for sure Tony and JSU will be covering it tomorrow, and they should have more information on it at that point.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the Discord too, right, Hoop? Like that's stuff that, if you sign up with us, guys, you can, join the Discord, add us, and we'll answer your questions and help you out. I typically, Wednesday nights, I do some, late night answering questions at 10:30, and Big T's still in there, Hoop's in there, everyone's in there. So, as we're finalizing our lineups. But, Hoop, break down this range. Who are some of the guys you're liking?
Man, it's a strong range with a lot of plays, and guys I have a lot of interest in. Probably have to make some cuts, but as of now, I mean, like Neiman, Casey, Sergio, Ben-An, Poulter, Streelman, Doc. I kind of like all of them, and I know I can't play them all, so I'm going to have to make some cuts. Leishman, I mean, it's the cheapest price tag we've seen. He does have, some upside of winning tournaments. Like he's popped up, won some big tournaments, but man, his game has looked bad lately. So I'll most likely be off of him. Jordan Spieth, I think, is a lock button fade for us basically every week, and it's not changing for me this week. I'll continue just to fade him. I mean, he's not very good at golf. But those other guys, man, I like them all, and it's tough. Like I said, I probably got to make a couple cuts, but Casey, Sergio's irons have been great. You know, the putting's always a disaster with him. If he can sink a couple, he's going to be there. Benny on bounced back with a big round 2, almost made the cut. The weather kind of screwed him. I mean, he was rolling. Then they get that weather delay, and then his game kind of fell apart. Poulter was phenomenal last week. Yes, I understand. Like everyone's saying, he did it all with putting. He did it all with putting. Well, he's a good putter, and he's a good iron player too. Let's say his irons get a little bit better this week, and the putting, he drops a couple strokes putting. They said he 7 or 9. What was it? 9 strokes putting he gained last week. Was that it?
Yeah, it was something high. I didn't.
Yeah, he made a lot of putts. Okay, but he's a good putter. So what does it matter? Maybe his irons are a little bit better this week, and it offsets a couple missed putts. I don't know. I just can't get into the stats like that. He's a guy that contends in these strong fields. He contended last week. I don't care if he made putts to get there. He's a good golfer. He has a good price tag. I'll be back on Poulter. Streelman performed well last week. I'll be on him. And Doc Redman has just been playing good golf. I don't know. I'm going to ride him until he sucks. He's been great. So I'm going to stay on him.
All right. I'd say my guys, Casey's one I absolutely love. I love his irons. I'm sure AP is going to talk about him here for a little bit. Really like Sergio. Love all the stuff that Hoop said. He's a guy that I'll definitely be overweight on in GPPs. And then Neiman too is another guy in this range. I like his upside, like everything he's shown. So they're probably my 3 favorites. AP, talk about your guys in this range.
I got to make one mention. I got trolled so hard. Some guy called me a gimp for recommending Billy Horschel. And so I had to troll him back on Twitter each round because Billy Horschel made the cut. And then he went on Sunday to post he finished 7th. So he had a great round. And honestly, he did most of his damage on Sunday. And so you got to figure he carries that momentum in to this event this week. And he has excellent course history here at the Memorial. And that was something we talked about last week. So I think Billy Horschel at 7,500 makes for a pretty awesome tournament play. One guy, so you mentioned Paul Casey. I figured that, 2 cash game guys would be all over him. Paul Casey's just he's too cheap, 7,900. He's such a good ball striker. You know what you're getting when you play Paul Casey. You're getting a guy that makes cuts at a high rate. And, you can rely on him to post something decent. So I think he's a fine option. A guy I have a lot of interest in is Big T's guy, Streel Daddy. I know the Big T's other guy is Ben On, but man, Kevin Streelman, there's very few players that are playing better than him or better than he's played over his last 2 events. This guy has been just absolutely, he's been a tee degree monster. I think he finished he has a 2nd place finish. And then what was he last week? 7th? 7th. So yeah. I think we can go right back to him. I think he might get some traction for sure. I just think if he gets an early tee time, I'm absolutely going to love him. I haven't looked at the tee times. I thought they'd be out earlier today. I think I saw them get posted right before, we hopped on here. So I got a lot of interest in Streelman. I'm with you guys too. I think this range is absolutely stacked, and I might have to make some cuts as well because I also like, Sergio Garcia. Sergio is a guy that just hits the ball really straight. His putter has been so terrible, but we've seen bad putters do well here. So I think the course mold fits Sergio really well, and I think he's cheap. And I just, at 7,800, he makes for a phenomenal play. I think you can go back to Joaquin Neiman too. Neiman's just such a solid ball striker. We haven't seen him post many top 10s lately. And so, we're due to see some of those. I don't know if one's going to come in such a stacked field like this one, but I still think he makes a good tournament play. He's probably not a cash play. I'd keep an eye on ownership though, and he could make for a nice tournament play. And then in this range too, I think, one guy that's also interesting is Doc Redman. I know in our golf chat that we do, Coop was warning us about Doc. There's a few things I do like about him is the guy has just been absolutely on fire with his irons. He's gaining a ton of strokes on the field on his approach to the green and off the tee. I think he struggles a little bit around the green, but this guy, I think at the Rocket Mortgage, he was like 8,500 or 8,600. And so we get a nice price decrease on him. Obviously, he's priced down due to how stacked this field is, but at 7,600, I think we got some decisions to make in this range, and it's going to be a tough one to grade for sure.
I agree with you completely. Hoop, who are some of the guys you're making some cuts on here in this range? Give me your top three. Obviously, you're going to play more than three, but if you had to pick three you love, which are your three?
Well, I think like Casey stands out as just kind of being over or underpriced overall at 7.9. Like he's to me a much better golfer than everyone else in this range. So I think Casey's number one. I'm gonna go Poulter number two, and then man, it's tough. I like a lot of these guys. Go Streelman. I like Streelman quite a bit. I mean, his course history here is just phenomenal. So go Streelman number three.
All right, AP, how about you? What were your three here in this range?
It's tough. Like I said, I think I'm going to put Streelman number one. I just he's a guy with so much history here. He's playing well. And I mean, I don't know. There's no other reason not to stay on him while he's hot. I mean, it just, I think we got to ride the Streel Daddy streak that's going on. I'll put him number one. I'm going to, that number two guy, I'm between a few guys. I'm between Doc Redman, Neiman, and Casey. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Doc. I'm going to go with Doc number two, and then I'm going to go Paul Casey 3, Neiman 4, slightly.
All right, let's head to this next range, the 7.5 and below until 7K. Adam Hadwin's the guy that sticks out to me that was just like, okay, he seems a little mispriced from what I've noticed. We got your boy Glover Hoop, who I'm sure you'll talk about. So let's just go to it right now. Talk about Glover and the rest of the guys in this range.
Yeah, so now that we're in this range a little bit, I feel a little more comfortable being, having a lot more guys in this upper sevens because I don't have a ton down here. So maybe I don't need to make as many cuts as I thought now that I'm talking myself through this. Don't really start building lineups until Wednesday, so I have a better feel. And like Mangone, I'll be in the chat as well answering some questions. But in this range, Billy Horschel kind of stands out, like AP kind of touched on. Slow start last week, and then turned it on and finished very strong at this course last week. Finished T7, strong weekend performance. So I'll be back on Billy. Hadwin, like you said, seems mispriced. I mean, he was like 8.4 or 8.3 last week. Been solid. Like he's been making cuts. One really good finish, T4, but been T40, T30. If you're in the 8K range, that's not good enough. If you're in the 7K range, low sevens, like that's good enough. Like make a cut and hang around T30. Like you can win tournaments with guys like that. So I'm on Hadwin. I see a lot of Harris English love. I'm not going to be on him this week, not in this field. Your boy Scotty Scheffler's down here. He sucks. Like he's just not good. I want to know if you're playing him or not. Actually, can you answer that now? Are you playing him?
I mean, I'll say this, like if I'm out here building lineups and like I need a 7K guy and I'm already got enough and I have to throw him in, I'll get maybe a splash, but I'm not really going crazy with him. So we shall see how it ends up. But I worry about his around the green game a bit. Like that is one of his like huge holes. And that is one thing, again, not that I'm using around the green game as like a stat that's important, but if you are a guy that blows up around the green, I think that can hurt you a ton. If you're a guy that's in like the 80th and 70th ranked, I don't care. I think that's fine. You can do enough to survive. It's the Corey Connors of the world that struggle around the green that I don't want to get those 8s and 7s out of. I just don't want to be having those. So that is my huge concern with
well, yeah, and that's one of the big differences this week. I mean, there's a few things they can do to make this tougher, but the rough's going to be longer, the greens are going to be faster. Come down. Yeah, I'm definitely on Glover. Like he's been playing so well. I mean, hasn't finished worse than T23 since the PGA's returned. Really good with his approach shot. So I'm definitely going to be on Glover this week at 7.1K. We've been on him for a few weeks. He hasn't disappointed. Like why get off? I keep sticking with him. Only 7.1K. Varner's an interesting guy. We've been on in the last couple weeks. It was going good. Then the wheels completely fell off last week. I have some concerns. Like, he's a guy that kind of runs hot and cold. I just don't know how he's going to bounce back from that just disastrous round 2 performance. So haven't decided on him whether or not he makes a cut. If I do play him, it's going to be just a small amount. And then the last guy, Sepp Straka, just been playing great golf. He had a T33, it looks like, then a cut, then T8, T14. Playing solid golf, 7K. I'm going to take some stabs on Mr. Straka here for sure. But, definitely a range that I don't have a lot of guys in. So now I feel a little bit better about my guys in the upper 7s.
All right, AP, how about you? How are you approaching these guys in this lower 7K range?
Yeah, I think the other ranges are just way better than this range. But so there are definitely a few plays that I want to get overweight on. Hoop mentioned one of them, which was Lucas Glover. I talked him up big yesterday on the Peel Pod. I just think, Glover's been so steady. I think he's underpriced relative to probably where he should be. I'm not saying he should be like in the 8K range. I just think he should be probably $300-$400 more. I was, thinking about Varner, and, Hoop's right. Like, this guy does run hot or cold. And honestly, the first run of the playbook, I mean, we tag team this playbook, but I didn't have him on there. Then I added him on there because, just reviewing some of the stuff that I was prioritizing. This guy's been really good with his ball striking, and he's been really good on his approach. But at the same time, that's what he's done, in these previous events. And if he hits a cold streak, he may just miss a cut again and tilt us all. And so I think there are some interesting pivots on there. I haven't added any of these guys in, and I don't know if I'll make any changes to what we have in there already. But I do want to mention one guy. I was looking at – so I'm trying to look at ball strikers. I was looking at Keegan Bradley, and then I was looking also at Brendan Steele. Brendan Steele finished 6th at the Travelers. He was absolutely – his putter was on fire. He gained 9.2 strokes at the Travelers. His approach was phenomenal. His game was looking really good. His ball striking was where we needed it to be. Last week at Muirfield, he gained 5.3 strokes on approach. He gained 3 strokes around the green. I mean, this guy gained eight strokes tee to green overall. You would think that he would post like a top 10 with those type of stats. This dude lost almost 8 strokes putting last week. So I think if you're just looking at it, like a guy like that, putting is one of the most volatile strokes or volatile stats that we look at. I think an interesting tournament play might be if you have to get into this range, Brendan Steele. If his putter bounces back, even if he just doesn't gain any strokes putting, and he has those same stats that we saw last week, I mean, he's going to post a really good finish. So I think he might be an interesting play. Harris English is one of those guys that, I mean, he's good tee to green. He's a good iron player. I don't know if I'm going to play him, though. I think maybe he's a fine tournament play. He's just one of those guys, if you end up with like 7,300, that he's a name you can click and kind of feel safe, but not really. And then I got to agree on Adam Hadwin. But I think the more interesting play is Corey Connors, is a countryman. Over Adam Hadwin. I like Connors' play with his irons, and his approach has been really solid. Now, at the same time, I really want to limit my exposure to this range. I want to really pick and choose who I'm getting overweight on. And the guy I feel most comfortable with is Lucas Glover. I think that's going to be one guy I definitely get overweight on. I think he'll be in quite a few of my main builds this week.
Yep, agree with you there on Glover. I think he's an awesome play here in this range. Hoop, rank them for me. Give me your 3 guys in this lower 7K range.
Well, number 1 is going to be Glover. Number 2 is going to be Hadwin. And then number 3 is going to be Mr. Horschel.
All right, mine is I got Hadwin 1, and then I go Glover probably 2, and then I don't mind English here. I think he could be kind of interesting, a safe option. So that's how I would maybe rank him. How about you, AP?
Yeah, and actually, I think I missed if we're including the $7,500 guys, I got to have my guy Billy Ho in there. I'm going to say Glover 1. I'm going to say Billy Horschel 2, and then I'm going to say Corey Connors 3. But some of these other guys are kind of, I might take a stab on Steele, like if I'm looking at milli makers. But overall, I want to limit exposure to this range for sure.
All right. So let's talk about this lower, 7K or 6K range, right? I don't think we have to do like two separate ranges. I think we can just lump them all together. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but Max Homa is a guy that I might go back to the well on. Man, it hasn't been a fun ride, but I do think there's potential there for him. Norlander's another guy I'll mention in the cheap range. I don't mind, but Hoop, kick it off for us. You guys have a little playbook guy that you guys are on to that maybe you'll discuss throughout the show here. So talk about this lower 6K range.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a range you don't want to overexpose yourself to. I mean, finishing in the low 7s with your lineups feels a lot better than finishing in the 6K range. I mean, there's just some risky options. You said Max Homa. I mean, man, it's been a rough ride. I mean, we were on him early and the results haven't been there. In this field, I just can't imagine him turning it around. So probably be off him. At the top, a guy like Nick Taylor kind of stands out. Hadn't played until last week, kind of comes in, looks solid, has a really bad round 3, shot a 76. Like if he doesn't shoot that 76 in round 3, he's in contention for us. So, maybe not contention, but he's going to have a much better finish than where he did end up finishing in the 40s. So I have some interest in him. Brant Snedeker is a name down here. He has not been golfing well, but he's a name, a guy that can pop up and perform well. So I might have a little bit of him. Mr. Hubbard disappointed us last week. We were kind of riding his hot streak, and it came crashing. So I'll probably be off him. We had talked about Bud Cauley last week. A lot of people on Bud Cauley last week, and I definitely didn't understand it. And he was bad. He missed the cut, not even close. He's 6'6". I'll be curious to see what people do. I'll still be fading him. Bernd Wiesberger is a very interesting name down here. He's a guy that can pop up and contend in big field events. Solid Euro player. He's only 6'6". I like him quite a bit down here. Mr. Gooch, I think, is in play. Big T loves Jim Furyk. I don't mind him. The one I feel most comfortable with is Norlander, like you said, at 6'3", just playing well. 3 straight made cuts, all I believe, T40 or better. Played well last week. And then the last guy, 6'1", that we put in the playbook is Stuart Sink. Made the cut last week, T17. I mean, he provides a lot of flexibility in your lineups. Like you play him, you have basically 8.8K left. Like you can load up on that range that we love. So he's an interesting full-on pump play. But, you don't want a ton of exposure to these guys. Very volatile plays.
Yeah, for what it's worth, like you're not starting your cash lineup with Stuart Sink, right? Like it's worth mentioning.
Correct.
He's not a guy to do that. And we love Bryson, but I predict you're probably not playing Bryson as a top end guy in cash. It doesn't seem like that's the build this week, correct?
No, I mean, like I said, you want to end in the 7s if possible, I think, on most of your lineups. Obviously, you're going to play some stars and scrubs builds. You're going to play some of these 6K guys. But if you're a single entry person or something, you're better off just finishing in that 7 range opposed to the 6s.
Agree with you on that. AP, you've been on fire with these lower guys. So hit me with some of these 6K guys that you are interested in.
Yeah, when I talk about this range, I'm not necessarily talking about what golfers I absolutely love. I'm talking about roster construction and getting this right construction that I want for tournaments. Because here's what's going to happen is our cash guys, Mangone and Hoop, like they just said, they're going to, in a field like this, a lot of people are going to go with a balanced roster construction. So they're not going to start with a Bryson. They're going to start with someone like a Xander range, maybe, and then, load up on the Daniel Bergers, the Abe Answers, the Tony Finau's. And that's going to limit, the Bryson, the Cantlay exposure, the Justin Thomas exposure. So what I feel like is I feel like what a play like Stuart Sink does at 6.1K is it opens up Bryson, it opens up Patrick Cantlay, and it opens up this range and allows you to get multiple of those guys in. So in my opinion, all I need Stuart Sink to do is really make the cut. He looked good last week. He's been phenomenal at making cuts. He knows he's played in this event a ton. He knows Muirfield. He has a lot of experience here. And so for me, like, I'm just banking on him. Like, if he can make the cut and then maybe make some birdies for me and score decent and then allow my studs to do what they do. And then if we get some of these mid-range guys to miss the cut and then we see Twitter just going on full tilt, whatever, we have all kinds of leverage on that roster construction. So going a Stuart Sink or a Tyler Duncan or Jim Furyk plus two of these studs up top. That's one of my favorite routes that I like in tournaments this week. And I'm going to be overweight that construction. And I just hope that I get the pump play right. And so I got to agree with Tony. Like, I think Jim Furyk is another play, just like Stuart Sink. Like, one of those guys for sure is going to make the cut. Like, I definitely feel confident that one of them makes the cut. I'm not going to pair both of them in the same lineup, but I'm going to play like a Sink or a Furyk, and then I'm going to pair him with a Bryson and someone else in that 9K plus range. And then you can even fill it out with guys in the 8K and the high 7K range. So I just think it's a really unique roster construction that's going to automatically give me some leverage over the field. So in this range, it's tough to rank guys. Like, if I landed on, if I was going a more balanced route or someone that if I was going with someone that I was a little bit more confident on making the cut, Max Homa is a guy that's kind of interesting. And probably the main reason I like him is his tweet that he was making or that he made after he missed the cut on the number last week. And so I feel like, Max Homa is a guy that's good with his irons. And, I feel like he could be right there. But I just feel like, I don't know. I don't think like he has that much of an advantage over like a Stuart Sink or a Jim Furyk or a Henrik Norlander or a Tyler Duncan. I mean, Tyler Duncan hasn't missed a cut yet since golf has returned. Now, we haven't played in an event that has been this stacked. And so who knows if a Tyler Duncan can make a cut in this type of event. I think he's definitely a risky play. But for me, diving down in this section is more about being able to load up on the Brysons, the Cantlays, and stacking as many of those guys into my builds as possible.
Yep, agreed. Like the one point I agree with you on is not playing 2 6K guys, right? I don't think you'll see that from me. I get it, but it's not going to be my type of build this week. I'll rank of Norlander. I'd go Homa, and then I'd go Gooch as my 3 guys. Hoop, how about you?
Norlander 1. Let me pull this up. Sorry, boys. Norlander definitely 1. I like, I think, Nick Taylor 2. And then I'll go Jimmy Furyk. I kind of like Jimmy Furyk at 6.5K.
Yep, I think the Furyk call is definitely a good one. Listen, we're not going to do questions. We'll save that for Discord, right? If you want, sign up at Run Pure Sports, guys. You can answer the Discord questions there. If you like the video, please hit the like on it. We'd appreciate that a ton, guys. It helps us out. So please hit the like. If you like our content too, hit subscribe. That way you can get notifications whenever we go live. Let's give our 3 overweight guys. Then we'll give our 3 underweight guys. And then we'll give our winner. AP, kick it off. Who are 3 overweight guys for you?
Yeah, I definitely want to get overweight Patrick Cantlay. I want to get overweight Bryson, and I want to get overweight on I'll say Tony Finau, and then underweight. I'm going to be underweight obviously on Mark Leishman. I'm going to be underweight on Jason Day, and I'm going to be underweight on Ricky Fowler.
All right. Well, I'm going to be overweight on Answer and Casey. Those are 2 I will definitely be overweight on, no doubt. And then I'll give Victor Hovland. Like him, I think he's a guy I'll definitely be overweight on. Underweight, I would say, I don't remember the guys you mentioned, but Tiger Woods for sure. I know that won't be one of yours, AP, but I'll be underweight on Tiger, no doubt for sure. I would say probably Ricky Fowler for sure too. Another guy I'll definitely be underweight on. And I'll pick. I'll save Jordan Spieth for you, Hoop. So I know you love being underweight on him. I'll go with Corey Connors, a guy I typically play a lot. I'm going to be underweight on him here.
Oh yeah, for me, overweight. I think our team overall is going to be back overweight on Bryson. And it's crazy. It's not going to take much this week if you look at these ownership percentages, which I hope hold true. But I'll be back overweight on Bryson. I'm going to be overweight on Xander, and then my boy Tony Finau might not take a lot this week. I mean, we'll see. The fades are going to be Tiger, which could be a pretty big fade because it looks like the ownership on him could be up there. And, could be one of the highest owned guys. So fading Tiger, could be a nice leverage move. I'll be fading him. I'll be obviously I can't mention. I can't say Fowler and Reed. I think everyone knows at this point I'm fading them every week. So not going to say them. I'm going to say Kuchar and. Jordan Spieth, it's too easy. Like, I mean, you left him for me, but it's just too easy because I fade him every week. So I'll give one more. I'm gonna say, let's see. I will go Webb Simpson.
All right, let's pick our winners. I'm going to go first because I already made an outright bet on him. So I'll just say now, Abraham Answer. I love him. I got him at 50 to 1. I think he's in a great play. Love his irons. I think a lot of the stuff he's doing is similar to what Hovland's been doing. Just been hot, a hot player, hitting with great irons. Love everything about him. Who's your winner?
I'm going to go John Rahm. I think he builds off that momentum in round 4, kind of gets it all going here. So yeah, give me Rahm.
All right, AP, you almost had it with Justin Thomas last week. You were close. Who's your guy this week?
Yeah, my guy's paired with Justin Thomas this week. He has a nice early tee time. And actually, I was just looking at these tee times. All our guys that we like this week, Bryson, Cantlay, Xander, all these guys have nice early tee times.
And nice.
Yeah, Xander. Xander tees off 8:17, paired with Justin Thomas and Dustin Johnson. That's a great pairing. He can pick Justin Thomas's brain from last week, and I think Xander's going to get it done. As Mangone said, he's a big game hunter, but not in majors. It's in these events that are stacked that aren't majors. So Xander's my guy.
Yeah, listen, X is one guy I'm thinking of adding to my video. I'm actually doing with JJ tonight. So that's on our Run Pure Bets channel. So check that out, guys. We got that, maybe starting up here soon. So stay tuned for all the announcements we have coming. Again, hit that like, hit that subscribe on the video. We'd appreciate it. But we got to get on out of here, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. For me, Travis Mangone, AP, and Hoop, Mike P in the YouTube chat. We're out of here.